Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address closing ceremony of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine in New Delhi. Parliament adjourned sine die as winter session concludes. The session saw the passage of key bills along with a special discussion on 150 years of national song Vande Mataram. Violence erupts again in Bangladesh after young leader Osman Hadi's death. Concerns rise over security near the Indian Assistant High Commission in Chattogram. Bank of Japan raises interest rates to 0.75%, ending 3 decades of easy money and marking a major shift in the global monetary landscape. And in the US, House Democrats released dozens of new Epstein estate photographs allegedly depicting prominent high-profile figures. The winter session of Parliament concluded on Friday. The Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha were adjourned sine die. The government introduced 10 bills, out of which 8 were passed. They included the National Security Health Protection Cess Bill 2025, the Sabka Bima Sabki Raksha Insurance Law Amendment Bill, the Sustainable Utilization and Enhancement of Nuclear Energy for India's Transformation Bill, and the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Grameen Bill. The Lok Sabha held a debate on 150 years of national song Vande Mataram for over 11 hours. 65 members participated in it. 72 starred questions were answered and 407 matters raised during 0 hour. The debates on the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Grameen Bill resulted in a productivity rate of more than 111%. The Rajya Sabha sat for 92 hours. The upper house witnessed an unprecedented rise in 0 hour activity, seeing a 31% rise from previous sessions. The Rajya Sabha passed 8 bills and adopted a statutory resolution related to the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Amendment Act 2024 with participation from 212 members. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju highlighted the productivity of the winter session, saying that the bills passed during this session will positively impact millions of citizens.
ये 2025 का विंटर सेशन देश के लिए बहुत प्रोडक्टिव सेशन रहा है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी का रिफॉर्म्स एक्सप्रेस बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ा है और उसको आगे ले जाने में ये शीतकालीन सत्र बहुत बड़ा काम किया है। कोई लोग शायद अंदाजा नहीं होगा, जो बिल्स पास किए गए हैं इस सत्र में, ये करोड़ों लोगों का जिंदगी सुधारने के लिए और भारत को विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के लिए बहुत बड़ा काम आने वाला है.
And the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla held a meeting after the adjournment. Joining us for more is my colleague Dibyendu Mondal. Dibyendu, tell us more about the bills that were passed in this session.
Well, Ramesh, this has been one of the most productive winter session in the recent memory because, it has been 15 working days for the winter session, wherein we saw 2 marathon debates ranging over 11 and a half hours in each house for each debate. And also, apart from the fact that there have been important bills that have also been passed in the parliament this winter session, which includes the Viksit Bharat G Ram G bill that replaces the current Manrega scheme which gives employment to the rural people of this country. This bill entails to provide a bigger net for employment, and also increases the minimum wage from rupees 100 to rupees 125. It also safeguards the life and livelihood of the people in rural India. And apart from that, there have also been an important bill with regards to the amendment in the insurance sector, which now allows 100% FDI in the insurance sector, has also been passed. This would give much more, impetus to the fact that it will bring in more competitiveness in the insurance market. And remember, the government has already, done away with GST in the insurance sector. So therefore, this will give in much more choices to the people. It will include much more people into the insurance net in this country. The Shanti Bill, which is, of course, with regards to the amendment in the nuclear sector, and nuclear, civil nuclear energy harnessing, has also been passed in this winter session. So these are some of the crucial bills that have been passed in this winter session, apart from the reforms in the goods and services of Manipur, and also the cess in the tobacco sector have also been passed in the parliament. So these are, to sum up, these are some of the crucial bills that will reshape the journey of India towards Viksit Bharat.
And what were the highlights of the special discussion on 150 years of Vande Mataram, Dibyendu?
Ramesh, remember this discussion had grabbed eyeballs across the country, with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, opening the floor for discussion in the lower house, and celebrating the song that shaped India's freedom struggle, and also the song that had ingrained patriotism amongst the people of this country. So therefore, this discussion, which went on for more than 11 and a half hours in the lower house, which is the Lok Sabha, and for over 12 hours in the Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house, had brought in a refreshed memory of India's freedom struggle, and the contribution that this song had in India's journey to the freedom that we achieved in 1947. So therefore, this debate shaped how the conscience of this house, of in fact both the houses, has been awakened once again towards achieving the goal of Viksit Bharat 2047, which was dreamt by our freedom fighters during our freedom struggle. And also, apart from the fact that the other marathon discussion that happened was also with regards to the electoral reforms. Again, in both the houses, the debate went on for more than 11-12 hours. In each of the houses, we had seen Union Home Minister Amit Shah giving a detailed reply to both the houses of Parliament, bringing out or putting forward to the houses as to what the electoral reforms shape. Remember, this had been a sour point between both the opposition and the ruling party during the last monsoon session, and that had been addressed by the government, and that debate also concluded successfully in both the houses of Parliament. So therefore, this session has seen over 111% productivity in this winter session, with, as I said, with many crucial bills being passed, which will be able to shape or bring more impetus to the journey of Viksit Bharat 2047 with the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Dibyendu, thank you. Dibyendu Mondal reporting there from Parliament House. Right, moving on, India and Oman have sealed a landmark comprehensive economic partnership agreement that is set to transform trade and investment flows. It promises a duty-free access across key sectors, new opportunities in services, and greater mobility for professionals. My colleague Gautam Roy has more on how this agreement could reshape the economic landscape and open fresh avenues of growth.
India and Oman have signed a landmark comprehensive economic partnership agreement, opening a new era of trade and investment between the two nations. For Indian businesses, the deal delivers unprecedented opportunities. Oman has granted zero duty access on more than 98% of its tariff lines, covering nearly all of India's exports by value. This means labor-intensive sectors such as textiles, leather, gems and jewelry, footwear, engineering goods, plastics, furniture, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and automobiles will enjoy virtually universal duty-free entry into the Omani market.
कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट यानी सीपा हमारी पार्टनरशिप को 21st सेंचुरी में नया विश्वास, नई ऊर्जा से भर देगा। ये हमारे साझा भविष्य का ब्लूप्रिंट है।
The agreement unlocks the services sector as well. Oman has offered commitments across 127 subsectors, from IT and business services to education, healthcare, and R&D. This creates high-value opportunities for Indian service providers and supports job creation in knowledge-driven industries. The SEPA enhances mobility for Indian professionals. For the first time, Oman has liberalized entry and stay for accountants, architects, medical experts, and other skilled professionals. Intra-corporate transferee quotas have been expanded, and contractual service suppliers can now stay up to 2 years with extensions possible.
We invite Omani business persons to leverage India's vibrant market, while Indian businesses will find Oman as a strategic gateway to the Gulf, Africa, and West Asia.
Indian companies gain the right to 100% foreign direct investment in Oman's major service sectors, enabling deeper commercial presence and long-term expansion in the Gulf region. The agreement includes unique provisions on traditional medicine and wellness, opening doors for India's Ayush sector and medical value travel. It also fast-tracks approvals for Indian pharmaceuticals, recognizes Indian organic and halal certifications, and reduces non-tariff barriers.
This will really give an opportunity for Indian market to expand through Oman to other markets, and for Omani businessmen and markets to expand into the vast and strong Indian economical zone.
Together, these measures are expected to boost bilateral trade well beyond the current $10 billion, strengthen supply chains, generate employment, and empower MSMEs, artisans, and women-led enterprises. Now, the goal for the non-oil and non-precious metal trade has been set for $100 billion by 2030. That's the kind of rich dividends which SEPA, such as the one with the UAE and Oman, can reap in a very short span of time, which is why it's being said that trade between India and Oman will more than double in under 5 years. With camera person Mohan Mukut Sharma, this is Gautam Roy in Oman, DD India.
Now, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with Oman is India's second FTA after the UK in the last 6 months. India has signed a series of free trade agreements with global economies, strengthening its position in international trade and opening new markets for Indian businesses. Now, India concluded a comprehensive economic and trade agreement with the UK. It provides duty-free access to 99% of India's exports to the UK, covering nearly 100% of the trade value. India signed a trade and economic partnership agreement with the EFTA countries, that is Switzerland, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein, in 2024. India's CEPA with the UAE in 2022 has substantially reduced tariffs on over 90% of Indian exports, particularly in gems and jewelry. Australia and India concluded the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement in 2022. India and Mauritius signed their first trade pact, the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, in 2021. Apart from these FTAs, several major economies are currently engaged in active negotiations with India to deepen trade and investment ties. For instance, India and Israel have signed the terms of reference for an FTA in November this year. India and the US continue the discussions on a bilateral trade agreement. India is also in discussions with the European Union for an FTA. Discussions for an ASEAN-India trade in goods and agreement is also underway. The India-Australia Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement in negotiations are advancing, covering a wide range of areas including goods, services, mobility and digital trade. India and Mexico are also holding meetings to strengthen bilateral trade and investment relations. Negotiations are also underway with New Zealand for an FTA. India continues discussions on a CEPA with Canada, supported by agreed terms of reference. And an FTA negotiation is underway with the Gulf Cooperation Council and Qatar as well. Still to come on DD India News Hour. India issues a red alert for northern states as dense fog disrupts transportation. President Murmu addresses the National Conference for the chairpersons of Public Service Commissions. And a special report on the anniversary of India's victory in the liberation of Goa from Portuguese rule.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Prime Minister Modi will take part in the closing ceremony of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine in New Delhi. It will underscore India's growing leadership and pioneering initiatives in shaping a global, science-based and people-centered traditional medicine agenda. The Prime Minister has emphasized on mainstreaming traditional medicine and Indian knowledge system. In line with this vision, during the program, the Prime Minister will launch a My Ayush Integrated Services Portal, a master digital portal for the Ayush sector. He will unveil the Ayush Mark, a global benchmark for quality of Ayush products and services. He will release a WHO technical report as well. He will also release a commemorative postal stamp on Ashwagandha, symbolizing the global resonance of India's traditional medicinal heritage. The Prime Minister will felicitate recipients of the Prime Minister's Awards for Outstanding Contribution to the Promotion and Development of Yoga for 2021 to 2025, recognizing their sustained dedication to yoga and its global promotion. He will visit the Traditional Medicine Discovery Space, an exhibition showcasing the diversity, depth and contemporary relevance of traditional medicine knowledge systems from India and around the world. A red alert has been issued for various northern Indian states as fog disrupts transportation. The Civil Aviation Ministry has said that airport operations across the country may be affected. It's urged passengers to remain in contact with airlines. For the day, 79 departures, including 2 international and 73 domestic arrivals, have been cancelled. A dense fog was observed across Uttar Pradesh as visibility remained limited in Kanpur, Agra, Ayodhya and Prayagraj. A similar weather condition prevailed in Punjab and Haryana states. People in New Delhi and the wider national capital region also struggled with the cold weather and foggy conditions. Daily life remained disturbed. And my colleague Akshay Dongre joins us for more. Akshay, tell us more about the disruption to transportation, including flights.
Well, Ramesh, as far as the flight operations are concerned, in the morning, especially from the Indira Gandhi International Airport, there were about 79 flights incoming that were arriving were cancelled because of the dense smog. That included 2 international flights, over 70 departures from the Indira Gandhi International Airport again were cancelled as well. That too included 2 international flights. These flights were cancelled and not even delayed. 7 flights were delayed because of the dense smog. that was a culmination of fog and the smoke that becomes even more even more challenging for the flight operators to deal with as far as the adverse weather situation is concerned. It's not just the flight operations. Advisories were issued for people who are traveling via road as well because of the dense smog we have witnessed in this weather. There have been several major accidents on the highways because people cannot estimate or rather predict any sort of stoppage in the way. Many times, if there are accidents, there are piles of cars that get that get crashed into that accident because of the smog situation. People are driving at higher speed and they don't get enough time to stop on the highways, and that is the reason why the Met Department also issued an advisory for people traveling via road. Several of the trains were delayed because of the fog situation in the northern India as large as far as the states of UP, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar are concerned. A red alert were issued for the states of Punjab, Haryana, some parts of Rajasthan and the National Capital Territory. An orange alert was issued because of the dense fog. And at this point in time, I can report to you that especially in Delhi, the fog has decimated, but the situation is expected to remain bad for the next few days as well.
Also, Akshay, everybody wants to know how long will this weather persist? What's the Met Department saying?
Well, the meteorological department is saying that the similar situation is going to persist for at least the next 2 to 3 days. So people have to be cautious when they are traveling. People they should check with the website of the airlines before they leave from their homes because of the adverse situation for flight operation. Especially if your flight is late at night or early in the morning, you must check the website of the airlines for any kind of delays. You must check with the IRCTC when it comes to train operations, if their trains are running on time or not, and if it comes to traveling on highways or via your own vehicle, you should check the weather situation and drive accordingly, travel accordingly. So the advisory has been given for 2 to 3 days. So we are expecting a similar sort of situation early morning tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and even after that. So 2 to 3 days are going to be difficult, and people should be prepared accordingly. Back to you.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Akshay, thank you. Akshay Dongre reporting there on the weather situation in the capital and surrounding states. In other news, microblogging and social networking site X has introduced a new feature which allows the most liked tweets country-wise in a month. For India, in the last 30 days, the top 8 out of the 10 most liked tweets are of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's X handle. It shows the extensive reach and engagement that he enjoys among the masses, as no other politician features in this top 10 list in India. On Friday, President Draupadi Murmu addressed the National Conference for the Chairpersons of Public Service Commissions in Hyderabad. The President highlighted India's growing economical might, which has ensured its position as the fastest growing major economy in the world.
India is the world's fastest growing major economy and also a nation marked by enormous diversity, needs most effective governance system at all levels. The country is aiming to be the third largest economy in the world in the near future. We are also moving towards achieving the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047.
The President wished continued success to the Union and State Public Service Commissions, acknowledging their role in building a future-ready team of civil servants.
I am sure that the Public Service Commissions will continue to fulfill their responsibilities and contribute towards building a future-ready team of civil servants selected and guided by them. I wish UPSC and all the state public service commissions continued success in their nation-building efforts.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met his Dutch counterpart David Van Veel in New Delhi on Friday. They discussed about cooperation on energy, technology, innovation and water resources. The meeting aimed to deepen cooperation and strategic partnership between India and the Netherlands.
We have a strategic partnership in water, and very strong cooperation in agriculture, health, science, technology, and shipping. But with the new areas of cooperation, important areas of cooperation like semiconductors now coming up, I think there's scope for raising the ambition of our relationship. So whether it's semiconductors or digital or cyberspace or life sciences, we would like to work more closely with you.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar interacted with members of a multi-party parliamentary delegation that recently represented India at the United Nations General Assembly. The minister discussed about the experiences of the delegation and welcomed their feedback from the global forum. He thanked the parliamentarians for effectively presenting India's position on key global issues. India's permanent mission to the United Nations hosted a briefing titled Towards a Network for Inclusive AI Capacity Development in New York City. The UN Office for Digital and Emerging Technologies collaborated in organizing this event. India's permanent representative to the United Nations, Parvataneni Harish, said that AI capacity building is central to ensuring that no country is left behind. Capacity is the new connectivity, he said. The envoy highlighted India's offer of IIT Madras as part of a UN-supported network. He noted that India will host AI Impact Summit in New Delhi in February. 19 December marks a defining moment in India's post-independent history. It was on this day that Goa, Daman and Diu finally broke free from centuries of colonial rule and became a part of the Indian Union. After years of failed diplomacy and growing resistance, New Delhi launched Operation Vijay, a decisive move that would change history in just 40 hours. Diptanshu Kashyap brings us this special report.
December 19th is remembered as the day history finally turned in Goa. After more than 450 years under Portuguese rule, the tricolour rose over Goa, Daman and Diu, the result of Operation Vijay. For years after India's independence in 1947, these territories remained frozen in colonial time, governed by Portugal as the Estado da India or the Portuguese States of India. Diplomatic efforts from New Delhi failed and the promise of freedom for Goa seemed endlessly deferred until India chose a decisive path. Goa's story under Portuguese rule began in 1510 when Admiral Alfonso de Albuquerque defeated the Sultan of Bijapur. But resistance never faded. Nationalist voices like Tristão de Bragança Cunha carried the political struggle forward, while socialist leader Ram Manohar Lohia's rally in 1947 ignited mass defiance. Armed groups such as the Azad Gomantak Dal believed liberation could not come without force. After independence, India tried negotiation, wary of international fallout as Portugal, under dictator Antonio de Oliveira Salazar, claimed Goa as an overseas province and invoked NATO support. This deadlock pushed India towards action. The action took place in December 1961. Operation Vijay was executed with speed and precision, involving nearly 45,000 Indian troops advancing by land, sea and air. In just 40 hours, resistance crumbled. On the evening of December 19th, the Portuguese Governor-General surrendered, bringing an end to 451 years of colonial rule in India. Today, Goa Liberation Day honors the struggles that finally brought Goa home. Bureau Report for TV India.
And on Goa Liberation Day, the Prime Minister said on X, Goa Liberation Day reminds us of a defining chapter in our national journey. We recall the indomitable spirit of those who refused to accept injustice and fought for freedom with courage and conviction. Their sacrifices continue to inspire us as we work towards the all-round progress of Goa. The National Investigation Agency arrested another key accused in connection with the New Delhi bomb blast case. Yasir Ahmad Dar, a resident of Shopian in Jammu and Kashmir, is the 9th accused to be arrested in this case. Dar was placed under arrest under relevant provisions of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act and the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Investigations revealed Dar's active role in the conspiracy. Investigators also found that Dar was in close contact with some of the other accused in the case, including Omar Un-Nabi, who executed the bombing, and Mufti Irfan, a key conspirator. Still to come on DD India News Hour. An expert take on the violence racking Bangladesh. More on that after the break.
For sustainability to become more than just a statement, it needs to be practical and seamlessly fit into our lives.
If we are thinking about a net zero economy. And obviously, automobile sector is at the center of this transformation. Instead of buying new vehicle, if I can retrofit and upgrade my existing vehicle, environmentally speaking, it is superior.
Zero waste means repair, reuse, analyze.
We realized that if women became involved in decision making and generated income, the whole family would benefit. Before, we needed a lot of manpower to handle the waste. But now, with the conveyor belt,
it converts the waste into electricity, powering 2 farms.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A quick recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address closing ceremony of the second WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine in New Delhi. Parliament adjourned sine die as winter session concludes. The session saw the passage of key bills along with a special discussion on 150 years of the national song Vande Mataram. Violence erupts again in Bangladesh after young leader Osman Hadi's death. Concerns rise over security near the Indian Assistant High Commission in Chattogram. And in the US, House Democrats released dozens of new Epstein estate photographs allegedly depicting prominent high-profile figures. Protests broke out in several parts of Bangladesh, including Dhaka and Chattogram, following the death of July uprising organizer Sharif Osman Hadi in Singapore. Hadi, the convener of Inqilab Moncho, had been shot in the head in Dhaka on 12th December. The premises of a renowned Bengali cultural organization called Chayanot were vandalized and partially set on fire. A mob attacked the office of Bangladesh's Bangla daily Pratham Alo in Dhaka. The attack took place around midnight local time at the newspaper's Karwan Bazaar office. Employees confirmed that multiple floors of the building were ransacked and documents, books, furniture and computers set ablaze. A protest erupted outside the Indian Assistant High Commissioner's residence in Chattogram, raising serious concerns over security of diplomatic premises. The incident took place in the early hours of 19th December when an enraged crowd gathered outside the residence, creating panic in the area. As the situation escalated, law enforcement agencies fired tear gas shells to disperse protesters. And India has launched a strong protest against what it called the deteriorating security situation around its mission in Dhaka. On Wednesday, India's Foreign Ministry had summoned the Bangladeshi envoy to convey its concerns about the actions of some extremist elements in that country. And joining us is Dr. Zakir Hussain, formerly with the Indian Council of World Affairs. Dr. Hussain, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, what can you tell us about Inqilab Moncho and its slain leader, Sharif Osman Hadi?
Apparently, it looks that some miscreants have used this opportunity, but in totality, they are using it as anti-India, as a convenient political tool to gain prominence in Bangladesh society and get some votes in the forthcoming election on 12th February 2026. So I don't think that simply one factor is mobilizing the people to this extent and this level. Perhaps multiple factors are there. Goons are sitting and exploiting the situations, and particularly the student wing, which has formed its political party, it wants to come into power, and that is mobilizing the youth to vandalize their own country. and India has becoming a very convenient one to raise uh, this sentiment in the country. While we can also not ignore the hands of foreign forces which are also trying to distance Bangladesh from India, and we all know that how Bangladesh grew when it was in partnership with India since 2009 to 2024.
Right.
Bangladesh has grown at a rate of 6%, and it has grown especially in export sector, garments, and various others, and it has reduced its unemployment, raised its per capita income up to $2,800, which is one of the highest in South Asia, and it has improved its image in the world. While the backing of India has played a key role to give a stable government of Sheikh Hasina. However, we also find that Sheikh Hasina in the last term has become non-democratic, and what I feel that India should clarify its stand that India supports democracy, not authoritarianism. So all these things are very important
Right.
to carry forward. And regarding Sheikh Hasina, what I feel that it's a tightrope walking, that our national interest says that we should do the legal things, while our sentiments, while our long association prevents us to take those measures. So Bangladesh should be, the immediate issue should be managed with long-term vision. It should
Right.
not drift in the hand of China. What I feel that the role of China has economically grown very fast after the exit of Sheikh Hasina. So we have to be balanced, and we have to be
Fair enough.
fair enough. Yeah.
You've covered a lot of ground there, Dr. Hussain. Do stay on. I'm joined now by my colleague Naval Singh Parmar on the phone line from Dhaka. Naval Singh Parmar, how's the situation now in Dhaka and elsewhere in the country?
Well, situation is very critical since yesterday night, and throughout the night there were many incidents reported in Dhaka and other parts of the Bangladesh. That was arson and the gherao and like mob handling of the media person and media housing, and that same thing are being continued in since today morning also. So there are a demonstration, protest, and gherao, or we can say the mob handling of the media offices in countryside also. Now I receive reports that from in Sylhet and Kustia also, Pratham Alo and other media organizations office are being vandalized. So things is not in control, and police force is totally failed to maintain law and order situation. At the same time, army is deployed since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, but army is not taking much interest. As and when the situation goes out of control, then only they reach there to do some they are not doing any preventive measures, but they are doing some curative measures. And army's role is also suspicious here now. Otherwise, with the presence of army on the street of Dhaka, it is not possible for the mobs and the fanatical elements to vandalize the media offices. So army's role is also comes under the suspicions, and the diplomatic community and diplomatic missions in Dhaka as well as the other part of the city, people are very scared, and there is a scary situation, as well as there is a risk to the particularly the Indian community here in Bangladesh.
Since you refer to the diplomatic missions in Dhaka, what steps is Bangladesh taking or has taken in the recent past to protect Indian diplomatic missions, in particular in Dhaka and elsewhere in Bangladesh?
Well, in Dhaka, the Indian diplomatic mission is a part of a broader diplomatic enclave, and there is a diplomatic police force deployment continuously. But before 3 days, there were some incidents of march to Indian High Commission, and after that, USA also issued a security alert for its citizen, and then after security brief up in tightened in diplomatic zone in general, and particularly in front of Indian missions, and the Indian and American missions are side by side. So in that area, security has tightened up. But our assistant high commissions in Sylhet, in Chittagong, Rajshahi, and Khulna, there are reports that today also there were some Gherao kind of thing in our missions, and some of the newspaper are mentioning that some munch leader, like student leader or fanatical organization leader, are giving threats in public that we will march to the Sylhet and we will do Gherao or vandalization to the Indian Assistant High Commission. So this kind of public statement are being made by the student leader who were the part of the government, or they are supported by the interim government. So our Assistant High Commission in the countryside like Sylhet, Khulna, Chittagong, and Rajshahi, there is a security concerns. And yesterday there was a stone plating on the house of Assistant High Commission residence in Chittagong, and there were a huge crowd there. After that, Chittagong Police Commissioner went personally there and they beefed up the security. And since today morning, there is a extra deployment of the army and the security forces. They are taking measures to protect the diplomatic assets and diplomatic community and residents. But the people and police are not making any arrangement to stop people to reach there. They are protecting the buildings, they are protecting the area. But in the roadside or on the street, people are freely roaming, and there is no any fear of police or army. And that is the giving a free hand to the fanatical elements, and they are supporting the interim government, and interim government supporting this kind of radical element. So both are having their like my earlier speaker mentioned that some of the mistakes have been made by the Madam Sheikh Hasina also, because her 15-year tenure, during that time, radicalization in Bangladesh increased a lot due to internet and some measures which she could have took to prevent this kind of radicalization. But in fact, to get some vote bank politics and to get support from the radical element, she also promoted this kind of policy, this kind of, we can say, thinking in the Bangladeshi youth.
So as my colleague Naval Singh Parmar is reporting from Dhaka, the situation is indeed disturbing, troubling and concerning for India, especially given that its diplomatic missions have been targeted by vandals and protesters in the last couple of days in Dhaka and elsewhere in Bangladesh as well. Naval Singh Parmar, thank you for joining us and sharing your inputs with us on this broadcast. Returning to our guest who is with us on this broadcast, Dr. Hussain. Dr. Hussain, now don't you think that inflammatory anti-India statements from Bangladeshi leaders have become all too common? For instance, a National Citizen Party leader threatened that Dhaka would shelter forces hostile to New Delhi and cut off India's northeastern states from the rest of India. It appears that radical elements have been given a free hand. What does that tell you about the Yunus-led interim government in particular?
Basically, when this happens, it means that government is not in control of the situation. It is nearly collapsed. So what is happening that first of all, Yunus is an aged person. He may not be doing the real task. Someone else behind is doing all these things. Second, that the National City Party launched by the students, they are showing their eagerness, their readiness to come to power. So that's why they are raising the anti-India slogan, and I am afraid that this movement is likely to continue till election is over. And this is the government, now the duty of the government is to control this element. And our government should also take a measured approach to manage the situation. And if we are going to become very vocal like that, it will help them to carry out their agenda. If these people, youngsters, are coming to power, and we all know they are in the hands of Pakistan, China, and to most extent to America and European countries, we have seen that how Yunus was introducing the leaders of these new parties to the Western, Bill Clinton and others. So we cannot say that only two neighbors are doing all these things, but all the forces which are against India's rising profile, they are trying to manage they are trying to control the small, poor neighboring countries. So India, what I feel that it has to manage the situation on the one hand. On the other hand, it has to uh, persuade the intellectuals of Bangladesh to manage the situation, to convince the students that they should go to back to campus, let the fair politics and fair election take place. Otherwise, there will be no difference between Yunus-led government and election and its result than Sheikh Hasina. So the situation is very critical.
Very quickly, if I may, Dr. Hussain, do you
Ji.
think the 12th February election will take place as planned?
Right now, it does not seem to me, but they will try to show to the world that election is there.
Right.
Because Yunus has to legitimize his stay in power. Otherwise, and I don't see why, I don't know why army is so silent. Because ultimately, this situation is heading towards that army should take over the control of the country, because all the political and social and media and all this have failed to manage the situation on the ground.
Right. Right, we'll leave it there for now. Dr. Hussain, thank you for joining us and sharing your perspectives with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Right, moving on, lawmakers from the opposition Democratic Party in the U.S. released dozens of new images from the estate of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Thursday. This before the U.S. Justice Department is required by law to release unclassified files from its investigation of the disgraced financier. The 68 photographs are among the 95,000 odd that Epstein's estate released to a committee of lawmakers. Last week, the lawmakers released 19 photographs, including some featuring now President Trump, who dismissed the images as no big deal. The Democrat lawmakers said that the images released on Thursday were selected to provide the public with transparency into a representative sample of the photographs and to provide insights into Epstein's network and his extremely disturbing activities. Acting on U.S. President Trump's direction, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has ordered an immediate suspension of the Green Card Diversity Lottery, linking the program to the recent deadly Brown University campus shooting. The suspect of the shooting reportedly entered the U.S. through the Diversity Visa program in 2017 and later carried out fatal attacks at Brown University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology before committing suicide. The Diversity Lottery used to grant up to 55,000 visas annually to applicants from countries with low U.S. immigration rates. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said on Friday that his government will launch a national gun buyback scheme following the mass shooting in Sydney. The buyback would be similar to gun reforms introduced soon after the massacre in 1996 in Tasmania's Port Arthur, after a lone gunman killed 35 people, which prompted authorities to implement some of the world's toughest gun laws.
Today, I'm also announcing that the government will establish a national gun buyback scheme to purchase surplus, newly banned and illegal firearms. The government will introduce legislation to support the funding of this buyback scheme and meet the costs on a 50-50 basis with states and territories. We expect hundreds of thousands of firearms will be collected and destroyed through this scheme.
Prime Minister Albanese, under pressure from critics who say that his centre-left government has not done enough to curb a surge in anti-Semitism, has said that he would also strengthen hate laws. Meanwhile, police intercepted 2 cars and detained 7 men in Sydney's southwest after receiving information that a violent act was possibly being planned. TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance signed binding agreements with 3 major investors to sell just over 80% of the company's U.S. assets to American and global investors to avoid a U.S. government ban. TikTok's CEO told employees on Thursday that the social media company, as well as its Chinese owner ByteDance, had agreed to the new entity with Oracle, Silver Lake and Abu Dhabi-based MGX on board as major investors. The deal is a major step towards resolving years of uncertainty about the short video app's future in the U.S. since August 2020, when President Trump first tried unsuccessfully to ban the app that is now used regularly by more than 170 million Americans. The deal, set to close on 22nd January, would end years of efforts to force ByteDance to divest its US business over national security concerns. In more business news, the Bank of Japan has raised interest rates on Friday to levels unseen in 3 decades, taking another landmark step in ending decades of huge monetary support and near zero borrowing costs. As widely expected, the central bank raised short-term interest rates to 0.75% from 0.5% by a unanimous vote. The first increase since January came hours after official data showed the country's core inflation rate held steady in November, but still well above policymakers' target. The bank began hiking rates from below zero in March last year as figures signaled an end to the country's lost decades of stagnation with inflation surging. To sports news now, India and South Africa are set for a thrilling 5th T20I encounter at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad on Friday, with the hosts leading the series 2-1 and aiming to seal the deal on home soil. The 4th T20I in Lucknow was abandoned because of heavy fog, leaving both teams eager to finish the tour on a positive note. India have enjoyed strong support at this iconic venue and will be hoping to capitalize on familiar conditions and the backing of a passionate home crowd. For India, the series decider not only represents a chance to wrap up the T20I contest convincingly, but also provides valuable preparation ahead of major upcoming events like the T20 World Cup. The two teams have faced off 34 times in T20Is and India won 20 of those. South Africa have emerged victors 13 times, while one game ended in a draw. England pacer Jofra Archer became the first England player in 30 years to take a 5-wicket haul and score a half-century in a test match in Australia on Friday. The Express quick achieved this feat during his side's ongoing do-or-die third Ashes clash against Australia at Adelaide Oval. In the first innings, Archer took a 5-wicket haul and returned with figures of 5 for 53. Archer also led a brilliant fight back for his side with the bat alongside his skipper Ben Stokes, scoring out 105 ball 51. The hosts were 271 for 4 at stumps on day 3 of the first test, with Head on 142 and first innings century maker Alex Carey not out on 52. In the Women's Champions League, clubs that finished between 5th and 12th found out their knockout phase playoff opponents set for February. Reigning champions Arsenal face OH11, with the winners then taking on Chelsea in the quarters. Two-time champions Wolfsburg tackle Juventus, with record 8-time winners OL Loins awaiting. Real Madrid meet Paris FC, with the winners facing Barcelona. Atletico take on Manchester United, with Bayern Munich next in line. Barcelona, OL Loins, Chelsea and Bayern advance straight to the quarters as the league faces top 4 finishers. Former Norwegian coach and defender Eg Hareide passed away at the age of 72. It was announced in November that the ex-Norway and Denmark manager had been diagnosed with brain cancer. As a player, he had spelled with Molde, Manchester City and Norwich City and won 50 caps for Norway from 1976 to 1986. Hareide was in charge of Denmark from 2016 to 2020, guiding them to the last 16th stage of the 2018 World Cup. His last job was coaching Iceland before retiring in November last year. And before we close, the countdown to 2026 has officially begun in New York's iconic Times Square. With just 13 days to go before the world-famous New Yorker New Year's Eve celebrations, the numerals 2026 were unveiled during a special ceremony at the Times Square Plaza on Thursday. Take a look. that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. You can get the latest news on the DD India mobile app, which is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You may scan the QR code to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.